It was Dantewada till yesterday. Will it be Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai or Delhi next? That's the center stage face-off question for tonight. Very, very alarming disclosures coming from the Bangalore Police Commissioner Shankar Bidari, who now joins me live from his office. Also with us on the show, B. Raman, one of India's leading intelligence experts, former Additional Secretary of the Research and Analysis Wing. Also Professor Sujato Bhadro. He's a human rights activist joining us from Kolkata. With me in the studio, Harinder Baveja, Headlines Today's editor, Investigations. I want to come to you, Mr. Bidari, first. It's your disclosures that are today's biggest headline, and for very obvious reasons. The reason really being we're seeing a potent cocktail, a terror cocktail really taking shape. My question is, do you believe this is a one-off, or is it now part of a trend, the ISI through the Lashkar tying up with the underworld, Dawood Ibrahim, Chhota Shakeel, and funding the Maoists? Is it a trend, or the people you arrested in Bangalore, were they a one-off case, sir?
If you examine the track record of the terrorism in India, particularly from 1990, it is very clear that our enemies are making use of the underworld elements to commit terrorist acts within our country. And this incident which you have exposed today, for this incident the initiative has come from outside the country. It is not the initiative from the Naxals or Maoists within the country. The initiative has been taken by the forces outside the country. And in the existing situation, it is my assessment and my belief that this is not a solitary incident. The persons outside India who are not happy with India and who are interested in destruction of our country, they will continue to do such many acts. Therefore, constant vigilance is required, and we have to gear up our intelligence. We have to be always on alert, and we have to file each and every attempt that is made by the enemies in this regard. Many more attempts are likely to be made by the enemy in future.
You're saying more such attempts will be made by the enemy in the future. Mr. Raman, from the perspective of the ISI, this makes perfect sense. They've got a bunch of 10,000 people, maybe more, disgruntled with the Indian state. You give them lethal RDX and explosives. Instead of Dantewada, they can start targeting the big cities in India. And the scale of the menace, the impact caused by this menace just rises dramatically because of the fact that they've now got funding and armaments coming from across the border, Mr. Raman.
Yes, actually this is a new conspiracy by the ISI to bring together the jihadi terrorists who are essentially urban terrorists and the Naxalites who are essentially rural terrorists. So it gives them a foothold in the rural areas and a much larger geographic spread. If you see the activities of the jihadi terrorists, Lashkar-e-Toiba and others, their activities have been largely confined to the metro cities. Similarly, Dawood Ibrahim's gang also, their activities till now have been confined. So the ISI is now trying to give this terrorism a rural as well as an urban dimension and a much larger geographical spread. So it is going to make the job of the Indian security forces, the intelligence agencies, much more difficult. So it's not an isolated incident. It's part of a new conspiracy, part of a new plan. We have to see whether what has come to notice now is the beginning, or there are other sleeping cells which they already established amongst the Naxalites, other contacts they already established with other groups, the Naxalites and all, which have not yet come to notice. So all these states have to be alerted to make inquiries into this matter.
Professor Bhadro, what the disclosures of the Bangalore Police Commissioner really indicate is what we've been saying from the beginning on this channel, that the Naxals are terrorists. It's time that we realize it. There are human rights activists who come and say that they should be spoken to. They are Gandhians, misplaced ideals. They are essentially Gandhian in nature. This really shows how corrupted their ideology is and how keen they are to tie up with India's enemies. This, sir, is not an ideological battle. It's a battle by terrorists, and India needs to combat them in the way that you'd combat the Lashkar-e-Toiba.
I'm not in agreement with your surmise and with your assumptions. What police commissioner said, what I heard, that has been overplayed by the media now. He said that there are sources coming from outside, and there is a possibility he is thinking that the enemies of India might dismember Indian state. But what I feel that the Maoists are not terrorists. They are patriotic with militaristic intervention. to capture the power within India, number one. Number two, they are more patriot than national politicians who want to sell out the country to the corporates.